Right now we are speaking with Jen Billow. She is from the Park City Education Foundation. Jen, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
We're speaking with Dr. Jill Gilday, the superintendent of Park City Schools. She gave us an update on everything happening within the school district. And the Park City Education Foundation is very much linked to the school district, provides much funding to help support programs, but unfortunately, you recently had to cancel one of your biggest fundraisers.
We did, following the CDC guidelines, we had to cancel Running with Ed, and that is one of our communities. It's not only a giant fundraiser for us, but it's one of our community's favorite events. I think people look forward to that every spring. We sort of all come out from hibernation and mud season and do Running with Ed. So it was a really hard decision, but for the health and safety of our community, we had to make that decision.
And it definitely makes sense during this time, but I want to mention the numbers. The Park City Education Foundation generally raises over $280,000 for our schools just with that event. So that's a
Right.
lot to have to recoup without having to limit or get rid of some of these great programs.
Right. That it is worrisome for sure because as we all know as well, I think a lot of people have lost jobs. We're a service-based economy. And 280,000, that is a lot to make up. And we raise money all through the year to cover programs for the next year. So I know I've had some people say, well, school's out. Do you need to fund anything? And we actually do. I want to talk about that in a minute. And then this is how we fund almost $2 million in programs as we raise money the whole year before. So that is really worrisome. But there's no way we could do it. And we can't really postpone it either. Some people have asked, well, could you postpone it? It's a pretty complex event. We need at least 40 permits. We actually need the physical schools and base and rec to be open because, as you know, we have the 9 exchanges where we run through each school, and then we end at base and rec with the finish party. We start there. And if they're physically closed, we can't hold the race. And it's hard to plan something that big and complex and also not know if we could still be in isolation this summer. We just don't know what's going to happen. However, what we're doing is we are asking everyone if you had registered already or if you were planning on registering for Running with Ed, and about 1,500 people in our community do run in the race every year, to please go ahead and give that same registration fee to the Ed Foundation because we have expanded our Express Grant Fund to support teachers and students right now. Our Express Grant Fund has been around for quite a while. It's been a small $10,000 fund to fund programs kind of outside of the grant cycle, last minute needs. And what we decided is to bump that up to $50,000 and let all the teachers know whatever you need for this completely new way of learning. They're, painting the plane as it's flying at 300 miles an hour. We're here for you. And so we've been getting the word out this week, and we've already, I think yesterday we had 6 grants come through, and they're not giant amounts of money, but they're things for sending books to their kids, that so they can study for their AP exam using a book because just using internet in a lot of places, our internet's pretty slow in Park City. We've had requests to cover some additional preschool tuition. We've had requests to packets of classroom supplies for kids that maybe don't have scissors, glue, paper at home. So it's already coming through, but we are asking our community to, if you're going to run, if you were going to donate to your favorite team or your teacher team.
The ability for the Park City Education Foundation to go from working on this big event, Running with Ed, to stopping and assessing the needs right here, right now, which is these express grants that will help with at-home educational needs. And I assume that these are requested needs by the teachers that the students will benefit from pretty much immediately. So Jen, do we still have you here?
I'm still here. I can see myself. Can you see me?
I can. So tell me a
Okay.
little more about these express education grants and how quickly that teachers and students will be able to see the benefits of this.
So we have made a promise to the teachers that we'll turn these around in 48 hours. So far, we've been turning them around in 24. So it's a super easy application, very simple. You just go to our website, go PCEF, the number 4kids.org, hit the apply button, and then you can apply for Express Grants. It's a super easy form. We're just approving it within the Ed Foundation. So our 5 staff members, we just approve it, and then between the district, the teacher, and ourselves, we'll figure out the quickest and best way to get the money to them. And so it's so far it's working very well. We're a little bit on a wing and a prayer, like we're all doing right now, but we're trying to get the money in the teachers' hands as soon as possible so they can get the things that they want out to their kids as soon as possible. So for instance, Krista Engel and the third grade team at Trailside, they wanted to put together these kind of packets of supplies for their kids. They'll put them together, they'll leave them at Trailside, and the kids can come pick them up. So there's, no contact. Trying to turn that around, within a week so we can get these supplies out to the kids right away.
And again, I think that's a great testament to the Park City Education Foundation that you're able to assess the needs right now within the schools and take care of it. But I have to ask, since you're losing, well, hopefully not, but you potentially may be losing quite a bit of money from
Mm-hmm.
canceling Running with Ed, but you do have the funds to be able to grant these funds right now.
So yes, we can. So far the asks haven't exceeded what we've raised. So fortunately, we had sent an email to all the Running with Ed runners. We had about $20,000 in registration so far, and offered, of course, you can give a refund or you can turn the registration into a donation. And we've had very few people ask for refunds. So that alone, I'm guessing, will be enough to cover, the next couple weeks. And then again, we'll continue to fundraise, asking the community to support that $50,000 fund. The where it probably gets a little more worrisome is for next year. We're hopefully we're back in the physical buildings, and we're back to funding our regular programs that the kids love so much. So that's preschool program, the after school program, the elementary visual art program, classroom grants. We do have our regular classroom grant program where teachers ask. That's probably one of our biggest programs where teachers ask for funding for their ideas. The PC Caps program, STEM. We fund all kinds of STEM in the district, and of course, Bright Futures. Those all come from fundraising from Running with Ed and things like the Red Apple Gala, our Give 180 campaign in the fall. And so that is to be seen if we can fund those as fully as we normally do. So there might be a little bit of cutting back there. And just time will tell. It depends probably on how long the crisis goes on. But we will always be here to support our teachers, and I think our community will rise up like it always does, because we can only do our work with the donors.
And really hoping that individuals will shift gears and still, if they can, be able to donate those funds. I'm curious, Jen, you are on the front line of education, so to speak, and I've definitely heard some reports that this has been really hard for the elementary students and for their parents. What are you hearing from individuals that are trying to switch to this at-home schooling model?
It is really hard, for sure. I think for our district, because we have the one-to-one initiative, every kid gets a laptop, and they start that kind of combined learning, both the classroom and online. And of course, kids are older, so they have a little more of that, able to themselves, work on their schoolwork. They're used to those online platforms. But if you're a working parent and you're an elementary student, and now you are teaching, you're working, you're juggling everything at home, there is no doubt that is really difficult. And I know our elementary teachers are just as worried about their relationship with their students as the parents are worried about, oh my gosh, how am I going to teach my kid math and French? Because if you're in a DLI school, that is how you learn math, is in a different language. And so we are hearing lots of worries about that. And I think that's why some of the grants that we've been asked about already are actually sort of social emotional wellness grants. So I don't want to give anything away, but there's a kind of a fun program popping up called Park City Rocks, about painting and finding rocks all over town that we're helping to fund for the elementary students. So the district is trying to support as much as possible those parents and teachers, and realize that everyone's kind of learning this together, and you can only do so much. So we're here to help the teachers. All the requests do have to come from teachers, but I would encourage parents, if they have an idea that they thought of that might help, or if they've talked with other parents, to let your teacher know, because we're funding so many different kinds of things, and we're not putting on our normal restrictions. So it's really just trying to see what works.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Jen Billow, for talking with us today from the Park City Education Foundation. I know that you had to cancel Running with Ed, but it's great to hear how the Education Foundation has shifted gears and is funding grants right now to help teachers with at-home learning. So we appreciate the Park City Education Foundation and their efforts. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after this.